organising this night for 2 years, right? And he's a brilliant comedian. But fuck it. He's a bit of a cunt, isn't he? Let's be honest. The last time I saw Sham, he was being kidnapped by an OnlyFans girl. That's not even a joke. So it's good to see that he made it out and he's not in Bollingsley's latest video. Well done, Sham, well done. No, anyway, I don't know, how many of you have been here before? Okay, cool. Unfortunately, I am going to just do all the same material, so sorry about that. No, I don't know if you've heard this thing where they say dress for the job you want, right? I don't know about you guys, but I don't actually aspire to work. So I've taken up nudism. Just to make sure no one accidentally employs me. And that's how I found out that you can make money doing that, and it's considered work now. Very disappointing. And it's not even that I don't just aspire to work. I don't even aspire to be in working class. My dad was in prison when I was born, and I'm pretty sure that's how you become a member of the criminal underclass. Well, obviously that and the crime, of course, but I'm not supposed to talk about that for obvious reasons. No, but it's a nice story actually. So my dad was actually born in a concentration camp. That's not the good bit, obviously. He came to the UK as a refugee, right? And he probably would have liked me to have dressed legally. But I'll just say back before it was politically toxic, yeah? Okay. It was a while ago. But he thrived in this country. He thrived so much in school, he graduated straight to Borstal. Oh, the older people are at the back. Okay, good to know, good to know. And from there he graduated straight to prison and never worked a day in his life. And that's how I know he didn't come to the UK to steal anyone's job. Absolutely didn't want to work, and the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. But as it turns out, right, it's true what they say that crime doesn't pay. Because my dad died fairly recently, and all I inherited was 2 burner phones and 2 fake IDs. It would have been nice if any of them had been in credit. Sadly not. No, it's fun though, because my dad really did genuinely acclimatise to being British, to living here. So much so that he voted for Brexit and became a racist. He's definitely one of us, you know what I mean? Nice. But it is weird, do you know what I mean? It's slightly problematic having a family where it's a triumph for both racism and diversity in the same story. It doesn't happen often enough. But the weird thing is, he's not even the most problematic member of my family. My mum, for example, she's still alive. And the bitch owns 2 fucking houses. Rude, do you know what I mean? Do you know what? She loves that joke. I just want to tell you that. She really does love that joke. I keep hoping that she'll laugh herself to death. No, but it's not even the most problematic thing about her. My mum's 78 and her fella is 41. It's not actually a joke, she's just a fucking legend. Right? But the problem with that is it means I'm not the most senior cougar in my household, right? Basically, if I want an age gap as big as my mum's got, I've got to wait for them to finish primary school. It's not ideal, is it? So I've recently met an older man, and the fun thing about it is that when we go out on a double date, nobody knows who's fucking who. There are some downsides to dating an older man, though. Sometimes when you're on the job, you do wonder if you might, go while you're at it. Is he coming or is he going? You know what I mean? And then you sort of start wondering to yourself, how many orgasms can I continue to have after he dies before it becomes necrophilia? Big questions, anyway. All of my relationships have been problematic, apart from this one. I'm only saying that because he's in the room, obviously. But, so, for example, I recently bumped into my ex-husband, and he told me he'd been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. So it was him. I was actually quite happy for him, because he finally developed a personality. Nice. It was an improvement for him. It was not a surprise to me that it was a problematic one, though. But anyway. And then I had a boyfriend for a long time, and he dumped me. I mean, I would say recently, but it was 2.5 years ago, so. But like, and I'm not bitter, but I am going to do some horrible material about it. I have just recently premiered it at Edinburgh, so not bitter at all. No, the thing is, he didn't just dump me, he made me homeless. Yeah, okay. I think this is the bit that will upset you the most, though. He was also my drug dealer. Brutal, right? Fucking brutal. Who wants to pay for their own drugs in their 40s? No, like, so he was a problematic man, right? Like, so for example, he used to do this thing whenever a woman came on TV, whenever she was expressing an opinion, he'd do this thing where he'd go, you know what she needs? It's a good seeing to. Yeah, and I used to think that's very sexist, isn't it? It's very sexist. But I have recently had a good scene too, thank you, Dad. There's definitely something in it, you know? I don't think I'm bitter anymore. I don't. I think it's human. But no, the other funny thing about him, right, is he had these really tiny baby balls. The thing is, I kind of liked it. Because it didn't matter what he did, I could still breathe. But I was worried, you know, I was like, is it okay to like baby balls? Like, could you be a pedo? But it's fine, I checked, it's a loophole. Just like a shaved fanny. As long as it's on an adult, that's the fucking rule. But the other thing about him is I don't know if you know them, he was one of those 5'7" guys. Do you know the ones I mean? Yeah, the ones that are 5'5", those ones. Fine, they're easier to get over. You can just kind of leapfrog. But I had hoped straight onto the next dick, but no. Catching a dick in your 40s is tough, man. The dating game has changed, right? You youngsters, you're doing things differently now, aren't you? Any thrupples in? Yes, Margaret, we know. So the young people, they're all taking pride in their sex life, aren't they? That's lovely. I'm so happy for them. My demographic is pale, male, and sale. My sex drive is driven by shame. And I kind of like it like that, you know? The other thing the young people are doing is it's this positive, affirmative consent. Ugh. I'm trying to think of anything that drives me up quicker. If you have to ask, it's definitely a no, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, gross. But so I mean, you know, I have met a new man, so I've got some tips if anyone's interested. For dating as an older lady. So for example, what you have to do if you want to meet a man in your 40s is just massively lower your standards. Obviously, that only works if you had standards to start with, though. Yeah. Otherwise, you're being ghosted by a man with 3 teeth who sleeps in a van. Yeah, but no, the other thing I thought I'd try. So, you know, I thought, you know what, girl, your looks are fading. Maybe it's time to develop a personality. I don't recommend it, girls. They're really only interested in your tits. But it didn't work for me because it turns out I'm a cunt. Which is why I like Sham, to be fair. Anyway, I thought I'd wait to get on stage until all of my opinions were quite problematic. So, for example, I used to be a feminist. Yeah, right? But it just hasn't worked out for me, right? Like, go girl, but it's not worked out for me. They promised us 2 things. The first one was financial freedom. And I was like, Daddy, I don't want to live off the proceeds of crime. I'm going to go pay my own bills. It turns out they meant a job. Yeah, that's weird. And the other one was sexual liberation, right? Which sounds exciting. That's probably what got me on board. But that's just, like, in your 40s, that's just another job. And at this point, I'm struggling to find a voluntary position. So it hasn't worked out for me. Anyway, I've been Joe Paul. Good night.